These are 6 tents I bought in 2025. I'm 6'9", so 207 centimeters, and today I'm doing the ultimate test. What tent is best for a huge person? And for that, I make sure I have a ruler with me, 2 meters in total, to make sure I can measure everything, and I mean everything. And then I don't rely on the weight, what people tell me of their tents, so the manufacturers. So I have a little tool with me in order to measure luggage usually, in order to make sure we have the right weight. So how do we do it? First of all, we actually start from right to left, except the Pomoly, the red one. So we start over here with the Grand Canyon. Then we have a Nightcat Pro. Then we have a Longeek. Then we have a tent, I have no idea what it's called, but I will put it in the section now. Then we have the Naturehike. And then I jumped over there and did the Pomoly. Now, all of them, of course, will be in the timestamps below. So I give you now already a quick run through what to expect, so you can just jump whatever tent is interesting to you. But keep in mind, as a tall or large person, check out every single one to get an entire overview. But now, the small evaluation. So we have 2 small ones, the Grand Canyon and the Nightcat. There, if you want to go budget and want to have a little bit more space, check out the Grand Canyon review. That is the first video coming after this intro. Then we have a 3-person tent. So if you're 2 tall people, well, your partner, your friend, whatever, be my guest, check out the tent. I forgot right now what the name is, but you know, it's on the screen now, like here. Let me see if I can put it. Here it will appear now, the name. The Naturehike 2 used to be my absolutely favorite tent, but is it anymore? After doing now many sessions, well, stay tuned, I will tell you. And a hint, well, there is a pretty good competition. And then we will have 2 hot tents, the Pomoly, Openvista, and then we have the Longeek, which are hot tents. Hot tents are, in the end, tents which are supposed to be made out of a specific material which is a little bit heat resistant. Or is it? Or isn't it? That's what I mean. What do I mean? One of these tents, well, it's not as heat resistant as I was hoping for, but stay tuned to check it out. And then in the end, when you have seen all these tents, I will build it up. Don't worry, I make it quick, a little bit nice music, and then I move very fast. And that was no normal camera speed, but I'm just moving very fast. I will, of course, speed up the camera, the footage, and some nice music, and I will build it up. Then I will make sure to review my highlights, that is mainly storage options. Then I will check out the ventilation system. In regards to material, in the very end of the video, I will make a big table, and there I will put in the material, what the tents are made out of. So you can go in and have a look as well. Then, of course, I will do the 2'7" test or 6'9" test. That means I have to sit in there, I have to lay in there. Well, the feet should not look out of the tent, which sometimes happens. So stay tuned for that one. And then when we're done, then I will have a channel update for you. And a little bit personal. I sometimes build that in. You might remember some weeks ago, or months ago, I reviewed already one of these tents and told you about my book. And it was a big success. People liked it, to hear a little bit what else is going on. So in the very end, I will do that as well. Now, over 2025, and now we're just in October, but over the year of 2025, so 9.5 months so far, I've put out 42 videos in total. That means all of these tents behind me, I've tried already. That means every single time we hit a review, I will make sure to link the correct video up in the top. If you're curious, look there and check it out to get a little bit more details. Okay? And then let's get started, I would say. Let's get started with the first tent. It's the Grand Canyon Apex 1. And, well, first we need to set the weight. So I know the manufacturer always gives us the weight on the website. let's be precise. So I brought one of these tools for weighing luggage. So let's have a look on what the weight is for the first tent. So the tent has 2.25 kilograms. I will convert that on screen to pounds as well. Then, second test, of course, before we get started is, I brought a, what is it called, a ruler. Now we have to have two dimensions. One, how long it is, and then how wide it is, in order to make sure it fits in our backpack. So, length, we have 56 centimeters. I will also convert it on screen into imperial numbers. And then we have 19 or maybe 20 centimeters in width. So that is the size and the weight of the Grand Canyon. And now let's build it up. Alrighty, now let's have a look at the features of the tent. First of all, we have some good ventilation here. So we have one on this side, and there's some mesh, of course, on the inside to make sure no bugs or flies are coming in. And then we can also clip it if it really starts raining. But in the past, I always rent these tent. In the past, everything works fine. So we have one here. Then we have another ventilation here. Same with the mesh inside. And then we have a third one over here, which is pretty good, I would say, for a tent like that. And then we have a small little tent for our stuff that is on this side here. And then this side is for us. Let's have a look what I mean. Let's open it up. So, here we have a little bit of space for our own stuff. And then over here, we have a little bit more, so it goes down to here, right? So there, usually I put one shoe, and then another shoe goes here. And then if you're with a small backpack, it can stay outside. If not, you take it inside. The clue is, or the great thing about these tents is, let's open up these ones. First of all, as you just saw, you have two zippers. One here and one here. That means, well, you have the freedom at night, for example, to leave the top closed and just open the bottom one. And that way you can just reach easy stuff if needed from the backpack or whatsoever. If it's really raining, you of course want to store everything inside. The great thing here is that the tent is a little bit bigger on that side. It means this area where the leaves are, well, that gives some extra storage space if the air mattress goes here. So now in order to evaluate if the tent is something for me, well, we have to make the test. And the test, well, that's the 2.7 meter test. Okay, so the 2.7 meter test means 6'9". The feet are touching the end, okay, fair enough. But the head still has a teeny tiny bit space. So I would assume 7 foot or 2.10 meter or 2.15 meter or whatever it is would fit in here. What else do we have? As mentioned, here we have quite a bit of storage. Then we have here some extra pockets for our iPhone or whatsoever camera equipment. What I really like about this super budget tent is that we have here a carabiner or whatever you call it, like a little hook. So you can really put a light up, etc. This is what it looks from the inside. So here again, on the outside, we have some space to put our luggage or shoes or whatsoever. And then of course, if this one is closed, here we can see it. So we have quite some good space here and quite some good space here. Now, is this a 4-season tent? Well, not really. What do I mean? Well, as we can see, Here we have around 10 centimeters or whatever it is, 3 inches or something. And then this inner tent only has the same height of 10 inches, 3 inches or 10 centimeters or whatsoever. So that means the air can still go up and then come to you. So I would definitely say 3.5 seasons, but definitely not a snow tent. Even I've tried it already in snow and it works fine. Let's get started with tent number 2. Well, it was my first tent I bought for the channel. Or actually, that's not true. The Apex was the first one, but then this one was the one I used in the winter a lot. So let's start with the weight again. So this is the Nightcat backpack tent. You can buy that off Amazon. The trick is here, it's super small, yes, but you need a hiking stick. So for the ultimate comparison here, I will give you 2 weights. One, well, if you hike anyway, you will have a stick with you as well. But if you do bikepacking, well, you would have to bring a hiking stick as well. Okay, so the tent by itself, let's check out the weight. Hello. Okay. So the weight itself is 940 grams, so super light. But now let's add the hiking sticks to it. And now we are at 1.12 kilograms. So still much lighter than the Apex, but you have to consider that you have to bring a hiking stick. Normal sticks work, but like wooden sticks you find on the ground, etc. But it's if it's really windy, you have to make sure they're quite durable. Now let's do the second check with the ruler. So same as before. The length is 30 centimeters and the width at the biggest part is 15. And there will be, of course, a second evaluation because, as we can see, the hiking stick is slightly longer than the entire package. Well, and now, of course, it depends which hiking stick you get. I just have a random one here. This one is packed together 40 centimeters. So that has to be considered when building this tent. And now let's build it up and have a look if it fits for 2.7 meters. Now, I used this tent already quite a few times. The last trip in English was on Bornholm with my father. You find now the video in the corner. Well, I guess the hiking stick I recommended is not as good. Well, something broke here. So that's unfortunate. Let's see if we can fix it anyway for the tent now. But there we see the first flaw. Well, if you forgot your hiking stick or if your hiking stick sucks like mine, well, you're kind of screwed. But let's see what we can do out of it. We have to go to 120. That should be fine. Or 47 inches, I guess. That looks kind of, yeah, well, that will fall apart. So, but maybe we can hold it up with some pressure. So to be very honest, I know I will give feedback at the very end of the video, but this one, I tried it now many times. Unfortunately, it's my least favorite. Where to start? As we can see already in the beginning, there are no air vents. There's one on the top, that's the only one. Here we have the other one, 3, right? So we have only one air vent on the top with a small little mesh. So it's almost impossible for circulation. So that is really not ideal. Another thing what I don't like that much is it's the fly net is only held up by one of these little things. That means this one will just hang down. What happened in my case was now it was hanging down, it was raining outside. I tried to sit down. Well, I took the whole thing down and now it's broken. So it only holds up by wrapping the inner tent around the stick. Besides that, you have a massive space here for your backpack, etc. Much bigger than the previous tent. Then inside you have a few flaws, to be honest. You have only one small space over there for your iPhone. And the inner space is also much smaller than the Apex A1. So the ventilation is one of my biggest flaws in here. As you can see, you have again 10 centimeters, 3 inches-ish, 4 inches, whatever it is. That's okay. So it gives some ventilation. Now I didn't strap it through because I have all these tents next to each other. But let's do the 2.7 m test. So to be honest, I haven't used this tent in quite some time. I almost forgot why. Well, I remember. It's tiny. So yeah, my feet, I know I have shoes on, but my feet, they go against the tent, which is not so fun. And then from a head point of view, I get a little bit dizzy here. Well, it is okay, but for the price, yes, it's super light, but So for tall people or big people, I cannot recommend that tent. Also the inner space here for like stuff what needs to stay dry, I'm not the biggest fan. It is called sticks or something to hold up the tent. Well, obviously this one is always in your face. That means also the only place in order to have a hook for a light has to be in the middle of the tent. Here. Now, come on, here. Now imagine I was with this tent on Bornholm, so a rough island in Scandinavia, part of Denmark, with my father. It snowed at night. So you can argue it's a 4-season tent, but it's actually not. It's 3-season. They say it's 4-season. It's 3-season tent. And it's not my recommendation. I think I said that now 10 times. Well, make sure you stay to the end so you see the entire overview. Alrighty, it's time for the third tent. This will be my first hot tent on the list. I have 2 hot tents. What is a hot tent? Well, it is made out of a specific material, so it's a little bit more flame resistant. But the most important thing is there is a special area for a chimney in order to put a chimney through to have an oven inside. So this one is the first hot tent on my list. So that also means the pack size goes up almost double because it has an outer tent and an inner tent. You might ask yourself why? Well, it's very simple. Because there's an oven inside, the oven needs to stand far away, or at least a little bit farther away from your sleeping position. And there need to be enough ventilation, so there's not enough, or there's, well, I was going to say, so there is supposed to be enough oxygen in there and not carbon monoxide. So for that reason, we have 2. We have the same with the other hot tent. It just comes in one, and here you have to order both, which is a little bit annoying. Who would order just the outer tent or just the inner tent? I don't get it, but let's have a look. So the outer tent is actually almost the pack size of a normal tent. So what do we have to do? First we have to turn on the little machine here. They're quite heavy now, but it's also a different purpose a little bit. So let's have a look. Come on. So the outer tent alone is 2.03 kilograms. And then let's go with the inner tent. They claim it's around 1 kilo on the website, I believe. Let's double check. And it is indeed 900 grams. So that we have to add up together. I will put it later in the big overview table. Now, of course, size-wise at least they are, well, they are the same, but double, of course, because we have 2 of them. But at least they're the same length. That means if I have a certain backpack or something, they will fit in. So lengthwise, we talk about 43 centimeters. And now, of course, for the width, we can either say they are 32 centimeters both together, or let's go one by one. Then we have 16 inch. And then maybe we can, I transported this one on the outside of my backpack, this one inside, or the other way around, vice versa, but it works. So, also on Amazon, all the tents except one is on Amazon. And of course, all links are in the description. Now let's build it up together. One thing I really like about this tent, I just have to mention that now. is it's also done by with a pole. So it looks like a tipi from the Native Americans. But the pole is inside, so it comes in the box, not like here where it can break or something ridiculous because maybe I bought something cheap. You hear I'm a little bit upset because I used that pole like 3-4 times. Don't buy that pole. The tent is, well, we come to the rating afterwards. But here the pole is inside. In the end, we will build it up now. It's a pole in the middle and then 8 corners. So how does it work? You put up 4 corners, put the pole in the middle and then put the other 4 in. And then voila, the tent is done. Let's put it in the middle. Alrighty, now it's up. The first great thing is, well, you can open up both doors big time. So let's just fix this one. Here we have it. So don't get me wrong, it is heavy and big, but it's also super nice and not so expensive. So let's put it in. So I would say even for someone who is not going for hot tenting, well, this one could be an option. Now let's do the other side. Super quickly. And remember, you have to purchase the inner piece separately. That means if you're in the summer and you just need something against rain, well, no problem. You can just buy the outer piece and then you're good. And then the last one is here. Alrighty, you saw how it's built up with the 8 corners. So you do 4 first, middle post, and then the other 4. Now, what does it have? It has here this special little area, which is for the chimney. So in the end, this is a patch, so you can also detach it if you did something wrong or something. But in the end, it comes fully closed. It's a heat-resistant material. And then you take a little knife, I think I took an axe. Ventilation-wise is here a little bit different, because imagine here's now the what is it called, the oven, and the chimney goes up out of that patch. Now, it's super important that you have enough ventilation around, even in the winter, that you don't have too much carbon monoxide in your tent. So that's why the gaps are a little bit bigger and all around here. As well as it has, of course, a ventilation part on the top. It's fairly small, but as we all know, hot air is going to the top. So it totally makes sense that it is on the top, so you get some fresh air in here as well. Now, let's put up the inner part. How it works is, it connects directly into the 4 corners on either the right hand side or the left hand side. That also means in theory you can put in 2 inner parts. Then you just will have struggle to get in because the door is obviously here. And then how it works is, up here you have like a little mechanism to clip it in for 1 inner part. But I tried it already. You can just take 2, and the second one you just clip in this hook somehow, and then it also works. Alrighty, the corners are up. You can do a little trick. The inner tent is supposed to go on 5 corners. So that means that corner should be there. And then it stretches all over here. But if you have a hot tent in here, there's the output for the chimney, then it totally makes sense to just put it into 4, because then you have a little bit more space here for wood, etc. So I did what I always did. Now let's open it up. The most important thing is, come on, it's difficult with one hand. Alrighty, so the most important thing is, if you do it that way, you have a little bit less space, because this stuff is in your face, because this is supposed to go in 2 corners, not in 1. And then on the top, well, these can't get any bigger. So it is okay. I promise you we'll come to the better tents in a second. It is okay for what it is. So I would say if you're 6'4" or something like that, it's fine. Here you have plenty of space. And why does it look so wrinkly here? Well, because I used 4 corners and not 5. But I always use that, because that way I have here enough space for the hot tent oven. Let's straighten out the pole a little bit. And I really like it that way. Yeah. Is that a hole? Okay. Okay, I'm surprised. I thought the material would be more resistant to heat, but it seems like the 2 times I used the tent, there are holes in it. Yeah, well, that will go down with my grading then for the tent. Let's investigate. And I can see there are actually holes in it. Okay, so hot tent, okay, but surprisingly, well, there are holes. So maybe not the best quality on the outside. There are holes inside. And I used this tent like 2 times. So I promise you, more tents are coming. Let's put it like that. So we have our, what is it now? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4th tent already. The Forceatt, also an Amazon tent. Quite big, but also I would say for 2 tall people, it should be fine. It's a 3 people tent. But let's have a look what it weighs. So let's start up the little machine here. Make sure it says 0. And then where I can put it in here. Okay, so, oh, heavy. Let's see, it takes a second. 3.47 kilograms. So far, the heaviest one, including the hot tent, which had 2 pieces. Let's see how big it is. Alrighty, so, is that enough? Maybe. So we have a good, let's be a little bit, let's see if we can squeeze a little bit. 53 centimeters in width, or in depth, or whatever you call it. And whatever you call the first one, you call the other one the other one. And this one will be 20, yeah, either 20 or 19 centimeters, be my guess to decide on your own. So, this is quite a big pack. It's not the biggest one yet, but I think it's almost the heaviest one. So, let's see what I can do, and if it can actually fit 2 tall people. And when I say tall, I mean 6'9" tall. Let's build it up together. Alrighty, let's have a look first about ventilation system as before. We have one on this side, and which is super nice is it has some, oh, it bended a little bit. Okay, so there's some aluminium in here, which is not supposed to bend when you fold it. And then you can put it up. So that means the ventilation on the side stays always open. We have the same thing on the other side. It's just over here. Let me see if it has bended as well. No, it hasn't. Good. So that stays open, and of course it has mesh inside for, or against the flies, you can say. So let's open it up. Let's see. And this is now the biggest tent I have with me. Now that one is open. Okay, so here we see already one of the huge advantages. It has a lot of space here. And as we can see on the other side, it has 2 entrances. That means if somebody has to get up at night for the toilet, well, all of there. Actually, that hot tent also has 2 entrances. On the other side is another one. But the other small ones, well, you also don't want to stay in there with 2 people. So I guess we're good. So let's open up. Here we have, again, unfortunately, only 1. No, actually we have 2. So we have 2. So we can move them down here. And that way we have the possibility to open up only the bottom and then the top. Now we're inside, and as you can see, well, I didn't put all packs down, so it looks a little bit interesting, but in theory here is supposed to go a pack, etc. And then, but as you can see, massive space. And as you saw when I built it up, there are always these little, what is it called? These little hooks which stay in place. And then it's super nice because that means there's nothing going in your face. when I lay down now, let me give it a little bit. So when I lay down, oh, dizzy again. When I lay down, as you can see, well, it is tight, but I'm also super tall. So, right, so it's 2.7 meters, 6'9" approved, I can tell you. And then the feet, it also works fine. And he has massive space for a second person. So 2 people approved. They say 3 people. Yeah, no way. That will not happen. But let's check out the features in the tent. So first of all, we have 2 entrances. As mentioned, here's one, and on the other side is one. Then on the top, it's you can remove it, but I like it. I actually like to put a tablet in here, and then I lay down here and can watch straight up there. I already made a trip with this tent. It's now in the info box on the top, so you can check it out. It's with my buddy, and we went to Sweden and Denmark for camping. Nevertheless, besides that, we have a hook here for a light if we need that, or we can just put the light in here. Besides that, the tent does not have any inner pockets. Oh, that's not true. I was incorrect. We have one inner pocket there. We have another one there. Okay, I was completely incorrect. There are actually 4 pockets in each corner, one. That is nice. That is massive. So that means overall, big in pack size, heavy, not necessary for 1 person, but for 2 people. It's lighter than 2 tents, or at least some tents. It's nice. It has a lot of space, and now it's getting interesting. It is actually a 4 season tent. Why can I say that? Well, we have the mesh until here, but then we have a little bit thicker material here. It still lets the wind through, as you can see. You can look through it. It's not like super thick, but it is thicker already. That means if it gets really windy and cold, it holds much better the wind outside and the warmth or the not so windy environment inside. Alrighty, now we have already 4 tents. Whoa, that took quite some time. So if you made it until here, make sure to subscribe, leave a comment. I really appreciate that. These videos take a lot of time, but these videos are the type of videos I would like to watch to evaluate what kind of tent to buy. So I think it only makes sense. Let's come now to my all-time favorite in the past. It's the Naturehike Cloud Up 2. There's a new one of my favorite, but that will be the last tent to review today. So let's make the weight test again. Let's calibrate here. Super good. Let's put it in. So, the Naturehike is 1,520 grams or 1.5 kilos-ish. And the pounds I will put in the description as always. And now let's have a look at how big it is. So we have around 42 centimeters. It's my favorite, but let's not cheat. Let's show what it actually is. And then up here we have 12. So it's pretty good. So the actual name is Cloud Up 2X, whatever the X stands for, but it says so on the package. Alrighty, let's build it up and have a look at it. And then you will very fast see why it is my all-time favorite, or why it used to be my all-time favorite. And, well, it is still pretty much my favorite, but there's one more to come. It's a little bit different, but it's so nice. But this one is much smaller. So I would say pay close attention to the next 2, this one and the next one. And now I shut up and let's build it together. Maybe you were already aware why this is my favorite tent, but let's double click on it to make sure we understand each other. First, it's built up, as you saw, with one piece of whatever this metal grid is called, this thing inside in English, one piece. That means inside super spaces, we will see it in a second. Then down here, good ventilation, and also, similar to the tent before, we have something what holds up this ventilation shaft. Super good. Then they don't stop there, and I like that. What we have down here is, well, it's a piece to bring down the outer piece of the tent really down. So that is nice. That creates a little gap down here between inner tent and outer tent. And now what they did is, and I like that a lot, is they have these little clips in here. That way they make sure there is an air gap for ventilation, but it doesn't get too big with these air gaps, because actually this one is a true 4-season tent. So let's check it out and make the test if a 2'7", 6'9" person is going to fit in here. Let's open it. And this time it is actually possible with one hand. Also here, the best out of both worlds. So we have a double zipper, meaning we can easily zip the whole thing up. And because everything is so well built, I can easily just do it with one hand. How nice is that? And look how nice it looks. Well, it's not like I'm in love with that tent, but it is really good. So let's go in here. Oh, it's so nice. It's so great. Just look at that. Here's the ventilation. The ventilation has a dedicated mesh. The inner tent has a dedicated mesh. And I just said it's a 4-season tent. Well, that's what we see here. Only for the ventilation, we go down 20 centimeters, so 6 inches. Everywhere else, we'll make sure we have a full, that is at least a foot or a foot and a half or something from the bottom of non-mesh. This is really stopping the wind. So only over here. And that we can stop off if we close the ventilation area over there, or we can zip from the outside, then we're good. Now, what might not be ideal of this tent is the area in the front is not huge, but it is pretty good. It is pretty good. It is, yeah, this one is just the best out of all worlds, you can say. It is a tent which is light. It has space to put your gear. It is marketed for 2 people. Well, that's a stretch, but for 1 person it's awesome. And now let's make the 2'7" test. So I will just go barely inside as everywhere else. So I don't want to mess it up because this is my holy tent. So this is fitting, good. Actually I have to be inside, so good. And then here, as you can see, oh, dizzy again. As you can see, it's fitting. Now, if I'm by myself, of course, I can do, as we would say in German, trick 17. That means just spicing it up a little bit. I can lay diagonal. And that way I have plenty of space. Well, that is not a secret, but it works super good. And that also means here I have plenty of space for backpack, etc. Here I have plenty of space for iPhone, etc. Now, I have a little hook in the middle, how I like it. Again, it would be nice if the hook would be here for the light, but it is in the middle, so it works sort of. Then we have a little bit of meshing here. I can either put an iPhone in or maybe even a tablet and watch something in the evening. That is super nice. So overall, yes, I truly remember why these used to be and pretty much is my favorite tent. But the next one, well, let me show it to you and then maybe you agree with me in the commentary section as well. But for now, this is the Naturehike Cloud Up 2X. Again, the 2 is a little bit of a stretch, I guess 2 people. And the X, no clue what it stands for. Yeah. I was planning to have each tent next to each other. Well, over there are plants. I don't want to destroy plants just for a video. That's unnecessary. So here's a nice open spot. Here's a big stone, so I have to be a little bit careful here, but we will manage. However, I promised you my favorite new tent, and here it is. Well, what is it called? The Pomoly Openvista, the 2015 edition. This is also unfortunately the only tent which you can't buy on Amazon, but I will put you a link in the description. This is currently my favorite tent so far. Alrighty, as you can see already, it's quite bigger. So let's weigh it. Let's make sure this one is set. So let's put it around. Oh, I set it to pounds. Now, how do I get it back to kilograms? Well, that didn't work. Okay, let's try again. Okay, here we go again. So, kilogram, we have, let me take, it takes a second to be very accurate. 3.25 kilograms, so really heavy, but really worth it. Well, let's check out how big it is. There we have the ruler, or whatever this thing is called. I thought a ruler is the thing you have in class or something in school, so this has to be a different name. In German, we call it ein Zollstock. Stock is like a stick. And then Zoll is, well, a measurement unit we had back in the day. So that's how to measure something. Well, please put down in the comments, I can also just Google it, but please put down in the comments, how do you call this thing in your country and in your language? The country is not so important, the language is more important. Okay, nevertheless, sorry about that. We have the size here. That is 50 centimeters on the dot. And then we have 22 centimeters. So I have the feeling the width is usually the same with all of these tents, almost the same, but then the length is of course different. Now, I promised you 2 hot tents, and if you listen carefully, well, you noticed I have only shown you 1. So this is the second hot tent. And of course, this one I've also used already, but since 2025 didn't have a winter yet, well, I haven't used the hot tent in it yet, but I used it as a normal tent. I put you now the trip in the video description, or I put the video now up. That's what the people say on YouTube, right? So up in the corner, you can see it now. Alrighty, let's build it up, and then I will show you why this is currently my favorite tent. Alrighty, the tent is up. Let's have a look. First, let's check out ventilation as always. So first things first, we have here again one of these newer ventilation shafts, which is super nice. Now, it doesn't have a little piece what sticks the 2 pieces of fabric apart, but if you take this line and you properly pull it down, well, I put it down already in the ground, so that means let's pull it. Then we can see, or we should see that there is a gap built. That means probably I have to rearrange these packs a little bit. But for now, let's leave it like that. So here's the first ventilation. And then, now it's getting interesting. First, we have a sunroof. One of the coolest things you can't imagine. It's really nice. If it's winter and it's snowing and you can see the snow coming from the outside and you stay warm. Then we of course here also a piece of fabric where the chimney goes through. Now here's the catch. This one is not removable. So with that hot tent, it was removable. That means if you mess up here once, well, you're a little bit screwed. So that is a little bit a minus point, I have to admit. But let's put it down. We don't have a stove with us today. Now one of the coolest things is going to start. We have a huge ventilation at the foot piece. Now we open it up, and that means you see these massive ventilation. So now imagine a chimney is going up here. The fire is burning inside, and in order to have enough oxygen, you open up the back, or this is the front in that case, and then you open up the back here for ventilation, it's just massive. Let's open up a door and get inside, I would say. Let's see if we can do it with one hand, the one hand challenge. So we're back, it's up, and now the massive tent comes to light. So what do we see here? Here we have now an entire area which is completely shelter, and that means it's against the wind, it means it's against snow, rain, etc. Even if we leave open the ventilation, only the first little fifth, that is like 20% of the tent, gets wet, and then we still have good ventilation. Then in this area here goes a heat map, and then of course the chimney goes up. And then of course it happened what you're not supposed to do. Of course you don't build it on a hill, but I didn't have space, so I will not sleep here tonight. Now if we look around here, this is the inside. First of all, the sunroof as mentioned, and now let's open it up, and that is the inside. That means this has a few purposes. First of all, it is quite dark in there. When you can roll it up on the back, and that way it gets really dark in there. That means even in the summer or in a sunny snow environment, it's possible to lay in. Now the front has the same idea. That means you have two fabrics on top of each other. One what makes it darker, and one which is just a mosquito fly net. So that means here you really have the options to make it dark inside. I really like it. Now let's of course make the test for 2.7 meters. Let's go inside. I have to be careful a little bit here, some stones. So, okay. So, oh, something is in my face, but you get it, right? So it's quite good. I have a little bit more space to the top, or actually quite a little bit, but that didn't hang super in my face. And now if we check out this piece, well, we can actually see my favorite tent currently is not passing the ultimative 2.7 meters, 6'9" test. So we have to get a little bit creative, meaning, for example, diagonal. Let's see if that works. That is okay, barely. And here it works also barely. So from a 6'9" point of view, it is barely okay, but the rest is amazing. Can you not just imagine you lay here, then over there is the oven which goes up with a nice pipe. Everything is dry in here. It's even warm. It's like a sauna, so you can lay here in t-shirt. Outside you have like 0 or minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit, so minus 20 degrees Celsius or something like that, or even colder. That's really nice, and you get that here in Scandinavia, of course. Let's check out what the tent has to offer. So we have a few pockets here, one here. Here we have a light, another pocket here. In theory, the idea is that two people can lay in here, but for a tall person, one person is enough. Check out this massive sunroof. It is just amazing. And maybe it's just me who is crazy stunned by that, but it is super cool. You have a sunroof. Yeah, I really like that tent. So this is the final overview. So we have the 6 tents on the left hand side. Then we have the build time. Keep in mind that is my build time I used for it. So I've built it already a couple of times. What type? So do we have single, triple, double, or maybe a hot tent? Then we have the weight and size. I made sure to include kilograms as well as pounds. Then also centimeters as well as inches. Then we have the outer tent material. Unfortunately, only at the very bottom one, we have actually the amount of water what it holds back. The other manufacturers don't give this information. Same way for the inner tent material. Then we have the price. It's for out of October 2025. And then over here, we have the winner section. And the winner is just not 1 to 6. The winner is depending on you can say. So let's get started. So the absolutely winner on budget is definitely the Grand Canyon Apex one. You can see it is just
52 euros, so I assume 60 US dollars or something. There are some small flaws with it. It is kind of heavy and it is kind of big, but it is cheap. It is really nice. It has, as we remember from the video, it has a little bit room inside and a little bit room outside under the tent. So this is definitely the budget winner. Now, let's get continued with the Nightcat backpack tent. Unfortunately, I have to give it a minus. For that price, what is good about the tent? Well, it is super light, but you have to carry a hiking stick and the ventilation is not ideal. So that means water at night will stick inside when just by being inside and breathing, etc. So that is not ideal. And the material, well, the tent is supposed to be super light. That means they saved a little bit here and there to save up that weight. So for me, it's a minus. Now, the Longeek Tipi tent used to be one of my favorite hot tents, and I actually went into the video with pointing out the good stuff about it. But after seeing the holes, I can't recommend it, because I double checked on the Amazon site. It says it's supposed to be heat resistant material, or it says even fireproof material. Yeah, I didn't see that. So in that regards, it gets a fire, but in the end, it's supposed to say fire and minus, because, and again, maybe I just got a bad unit, but I got a unit. I can only test the unit I got, and that one I used only 2 times. And keep in mind, my stove even has a little protection shield that it's supposed to hold back all fire inside, so it's not getting out at all. So I only used it 2 times. The stove has a protection shield. That means it only has a little bit coming out of the top, and then it has already 2 holes. So I do like it a lot. So for everyone who is totally up for a good tent, I can recommend it, especially like a Tipi tent. But for the hot tent purpose, it's a minus for me. Now, the Forceatt tent, that is the tent where I forgot the name. It is huge. It's for 2 people, great. But since I'm more focused on myself doing camping trips, well, it is a minus. And also the camping video I attached or linked in the video description, I did it by myself, it's a minus. Now, the Naturehike Cloud Up 2X, wherever the X comes from, that's my favorite. I put it in. And yes, it's expensive. It's 170 euros. It's close to the most expensive one on the list. But it is just my favorite, and you saw why. It is marketed as double, but for a tall person, as a single user, super good. It's a true 4-season tent. It has good ventilation. Yeah, it's just my favorite, you can say. And it takes 5 minutes to build up. Super good if it's rainy or snowy. Super quick build up. But then I found this little guy here. So that means it's heavy, and it is my favorite. And it's a hot tent. So let's say the Naturehike would be my favorite if you go hiking or bikepacking. And the Pomoly would be definitely my favorite if you are by car. And to be honest, in the winter, and I live in Scandinavia, so it's kind of cold here, it's also nice with the hot tent. And I didn't see any holes. So that is the overview. So we have definitely 2 winners, 1 budget winner, and 3, which are all 3 not bad tents necessarily, just 3 tents I cannot recommend for obvious reasons I mentioned in the video.
Hi again. Now, I promised you a personal connection or personal message at the end. So this is it. So thank you, first of all, that you made it to the end of the video. I can assume if you made it through all 6 reviews and my little intro, you sticked around 30, maybe even 40 minutes, depending on how long these videos in total with me. And I appreciate that because my channel is not yet monetized and well, it's work in progress and every single view is counting for me. Now, I have two updates. First of all, a personal one. Yesterday, I bought a rowing machine and I started 30 minutes rowing on the rowing machine. And now my idea is until Christmas, that is like 2.5, maybe 3 months-ish, I add 1 minute a day. So today was already 31 minutes, now tomorrow 32 minutes, and every Wednesday I do a rest day. Let's see how that goes and stay tuned. If you're curious, put it in the comments, I will get back to you. Then on another note, on the channel, I have also two updates. First of all, I'm currently working on monetarization. Well, that means making cash with the channel. Right now, everything is for free. And well, I wouldn't mind to get a little bit of money out of my hard work here, but it's a process. And it's not a process I can do by myself. I can only do it together with you, with all of you. So for that reason, I'm super happy you're still here. And I give you now a little bit update what's coming next. So, as you might heard, I'm a German who is working and partially living in Denmark. And now the Danish legislation around buying a summer house or an old manor is very specific. What does it mean? You need to work here for 5 years in Denmark in order to purchase a summer house. And a summer house can be any house which is classified as a summer house or a vacation home. So that's something I would like to do. Not a classical summer house. I'm thinking of an old house, 150, 160 years ago. It was built completely in the middle of a little forest. That's my dream. And well, there's a house which I'm interested in. So I checked it already out. And in December, I've been working now here for 5 years. So in December, I'm in theory able to purchase it. So my decision came to mind. I will then rebrand the channel, and that is happening since today. Since today, my videos are in English in order to include everyone. But I know that I have built over 2025 also quite a German community. So I would like to share something for my German community. Und das, was ich jetzt sage, ist ganz wichtig. Ich möchte Inklusion. Ich möchte alle Menschen erreichen, die meine Videos anschauen möchten. Hier in Dänemark gibt es Menschen, die sprechen halt kein Deutsch. Was ja klar ist, die sprechen Dänisch. Und in Deutschland gibt es bestimmt Menschen, die kein Deutsch können, die ich trotzdem erreichen möchte. Und aus diesem Grund habe ich mich dafür entschieden, meine Videos auf Englisch zu machen. Ich weiß, es gab schon mal auf dem Channel ein bisschen hin und her, welche Sprache mache ich. Und die Quintessenz war, eigentlich stört es niemanden, wenn die Videos in Englisch sind. Und deswegen sind die Videos jetzt wieder in Englisch. Für die, die es doch stört, habe ich mir 2 Sachen überlegt. Erstens wird es alle Videos immer mit deutschem Untertitel geben. Und zweitens, jeden einzelnen Kommentar, den ihr mir auf Deutsch schreibt, werde ich selbstverständlich auf Deutsch beantworten. Now switching back to English. So in short, what I just shared with everyone is that there will be German subtitle. And if you communicate with me, either on social media or here on YouTube in the commentary section, I will respond to German fans in German. So I hope these will meet the best out of 2 worlds. And if you're curious about if I'm going to purchase that house, well, stay tuned. I will make a video very soon about that topic. But in the end, it will be a mix out of 2 things. One is, it's an old farm manor. Besides, flowering, ducks, little bit renovation. I'm not the biggest fan of renovation, but something has to be done on the house. Gardening, the entire hiking topic, and also the topic around tents, etc. will still stay a part of this channel. It will be, or might be, even increase if the community is up for it. And how come? Well, I will have my own garden then. Right now I live in an apartment building. I will have then a storage unit to have all the tents. I will have a dedicated space in the garden where I can review new equipment. So that will be super cool. So that is from my side. I super appreciate that you sticked until here. I'm trying something new. On the one hand side, I'm of course checking out, like there are some YouTube coaches or people who think they know what they're talking about. So I'm trying out new things to be more appealing to the wider mass. But at the same time, the channel is about me, Ferdinand. And well, I will not change for the channel. That's how I am. So that means, yes, I'm listening to advice, of course, what to do to reach the wider mass. But in the end, you're always dealing with me. 34, I actually work in corporate, who is curious. Former consultant doing like finance transformations or completely something else, and now HR transformations, etc. Completely something else than this channel. But this is like my day-to-day life. And then in the meantime, well, I have this channel. And if you're curious about only camping, you only want to stick to camping, well, I might have news for you as well in a later video. And for now, I wish you a wonderful weekend. That is coming up here in Denmark. Today is Friday evening. I just worked this morning and now it's time to hit the weekend. Now I have to take down 6 tents. That will take a little bit. But I always thought this would be a kind of video I would like to watch. So I hope it was helpful, and really make sure to hit the commentary section and give me a like up. Or a like down if it really sucks, but I don't hope so. And now, cheers and see you next time.